Welcome back to episode 2 of MVP Most Valuable Podcast. Myself, James Lapton, and of course, El Tornado, Tyler Goodjohn. Tyler, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, James. How are you?
Yeah, all good. Thank you, mate. All good. Been plenty of news going on in boxing the last couple of weeks. Got a few topics to go through with you. I'm going to start with quite a big one that came out, and it was a bit of a shocking comment in terms of the person who made the comment, and I couldn't believe they actually said it. Canelo Alvarez. Everybody wants to see him fight David Benavidez. He said he would only fight him if he's getting paid between 150 to 200 million dollars. Is he ducking Benavidez?
Well, yeah. I mean, it does look that way, doesn't it? Uh, you can't really see it any other way. I mean, I am the biggest Canelo fan ever. I mean, I've actually been watching him this morning. But yeah, you. I mean, he did say obviously Benavidez is a big guy, man. He's a big guy, and what did he say? Like 25 pounds. There'll be a 25 pound difference on fight night, which perhaps there will be, perhaps only 20 pounds, but that's a lot of weight. Um, I don't know, Canelo, like I say, for me, he's achieved so much. So like, he can't really do too much wrong in my eyes.
Just to flip it with Canelo, obviously he has fought at light heavyweight against Levis. He has fought at a heavier weight than Benavidez ever has. I don't think Benavidez ever fought higher than super middle. I may be wrong there, but obviously Canelo has gone to 175, so he has made that weight.
Yeah.
And Benavidez has come out and said he'll put in a contract a rehydration clause and things like that. He just wants to get this fight done. Like I say, he's almost sort of priced himself out of it a little bit, really. And I get that he's a high risk, low reward fight for him. He's not mandatory for any of the belts, I don't believe. I think Mongolia is for two of the bodies. Obviously, that's who he's fighting next. But like I say, he doesn't look like anything other than a duck by pricing yourself out that extreme.
Yeah, well, as a fighter, obviously, I mean, I've had fighters price themselves out of fights with me, and it's like it looks like a legit way to say, well, I'm not ducking this fight, but for real fighters and real fans know that that's just a smokescreen. So they use that line, and they'll outprice themselves. The fight doesn't happen, and they'll stick to that story forever. But like I say, I love Canelo. He can't do much in my eyes. So
There's,
there.
I think with fighters, there's always, because no fighter's ever going to come out and say, no, I don't want to fight this geezer. There's always two ways about it. One, you price yourself out, or two, you promote a lowballs him and make a low offer and go, well, we did offer him the fight, but actually it was shit money. Why is it? Why would, like I say, Canelo's achieved so much? He's pound for pound, he's right up there. He's been unbelievable from throughout his career. Debut at 15, which is incredible in itself, to the level he reached after, especially after the Floyd Mayweather loss as well, bouncing back from a defeat early on, not worrying about that undefeated record, to still go on to achieve what he achieved. It's an unbelievable career he's had. Why almost tarnish it now?
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, the trouble is, what is he? 33, 34? So he's not old. I mean, he could walk away from the sport tomorrow, and obviously his legacy is signed, sealed, and delivered. But he's not going to be able to do that. And the people around him aren't going to let him do that because he's earning way too much money for everyone. But that Benavidez, I think he's probably thinking to himself, wow, what if I go get smashed in by another Mexican fighter? That's not going to do much for my credibility and my marketability. So he's trying to swerve that one.
On the flip side, with Benavidez, does it show um, his confidence in his own ability by saying no? Canelo Alvarez is a guy I want, because let's be honest, Canelo's not on the slide. Even though he's getting older, he's not on the slide. He's not declining.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Benavidez, he's in it to be the best he can be, isn't he? So, why wouldn't he fight Canelo and want to fight Canelo at some point in his career? So yeah, I can totally see, why he wants to fight. And like I say, I can see why Canelo's thinking, maybe not. But that's the fight game, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know and we'll never know.
Let's say if it happens, end of the year, obviously Canelo's got Maguire next. Let's say end of the year, he does fight Benavidez. Who wins and why?
I'm always going with Canelo, man. Canelo is just he's just everything for me. I love the way he boxes. Um, and I just think, the way that he's moved up through all the weights, just even turning pro at 15, just he's built differently, man. Just built differently. Um, and I do think that his boxing would win that fight. Benavidez is obviously, he's a very domineering fighter. Comes forward, he's a big guy. But I do think that Canelo would find a way to beat him. Yeah, at the end of the day, he fought Golovkin twice. I mean, look, again, perhaps in a biased opinion, I thought that Canelo actually won the first fight against Golovkin when it was a draw. I actually did think that. I thought he outboxed him on the back foot. Obviously there's going to be a lot of people that won't agree with that, but yeah, I think he's got. He can do it on the inside. He can do it mid range, and he can do it on the outside.
I'll be honest, I'm one of those. I thought Golovkin won that first fight quite clearly, in my opinion, as well. But that's why I like boxing. Do you know what I mean? It is down to what you
Yeah,
like. Absolutely. Whilst we mentioned the Mongolia fight, let's talk about that very quickly. Is this too much too soon for Mongolia? Is it a big step up compared to what he's fought before?
Look, my good friend John Ryder, who I trained with for many years at Hainault, Essex. We actually made our professional debut on the same night at York Hall, Bethnal Green on Tyson Fury's show. He went and fought Canelo. He stuck it on Canelo as well. And obviously went the distance, managed to go the distance with Canelo, which is just unbelievable. I think, he got put down a couple of times, but he stuck around in there. You could probably say that he had the fight beat out of him a little bit going against the Manu. What's his name? Nuega.
Mongolia. I think I might be butchering it myself, but
sorry to the Hispanic community that are tuning in. Mongolia. Yeah, he looked vicious, to be fair, but I'm not sure if he beat a sort of shadow of himself, John Ryder, in the end. But he got it done all the same. So who knows? It's a good fight, man. Two Mexicans. It's great. I mean, I actually watched Canelo versus Alfredo Angulo today, and oh my god, that's one of Canelo's best performances. It was just cannon fodder, man. Absolute cannon fodder.
In your opinion, as a Canelo fan as well, when do you think Canelo should call it a day? Like I say, he's not on a decline. He's not, but he is aging, and he's been in the sport as a professional for over 15 years now. He's got enough money. He doesn't need to earn any more. When's the right time for Canelo Alvarez to walk away?
I mean, only he knows that. It's. I mean, to be honest, when you look at him, he's. I mean, if he was just float about at super welter, middleweight, like who touches him? Do you know what I mean? But he's obviously pushing it to the extreme by trying to go up to light heavyweight and all that. And he's like 5'8" or whatever he is, and he's fighting guys like coming down from probably £200 to make 175. It's quite incredible, to be fair. So who knows? Who knows, man? With all this modern day science and all nutrition and everything, people are fighting into their 40s now, aren't they? So you look after yourself, which I'm sure he does. Yeah, who knows?
Definitely. Let's move on to the next topic. Probably the most exciting news to really hit boxing in a long time, and that is out in Saudi, Turkey Al Al Sheikh seems to be making the fights that seem to never be made before. Frank Warren versus Eddie Hearn, Queensberry match from 5 versus 5. Time of recording announced today. The weight classes are going to be fighting. So 5 fights, be 2 heavyweights, 1 middleweight, I think 1 flyweight and 1 light heavyweight. There's no official fights yet, but there's a few rumors flying around. First one I'll talk about is Filip Hrgovic and Daniel Dubois. Um, how do you see that fight going? Is that a fight you like?
Yeah, it's a good fight. Yes, it's I suppose what would cliche be called a crossroads fight for a world title, or being a world champion. Yeah, it's a good fight. Um, I like Dubois more so in the last couple of years. I think he's shown a lot. Like even the last fight against Jared Miller. I mean, I know Jared Miller's just a big lump, but he got him out of there. Um, Hrgovic, I mean, what I mean, I don't know loads on the guy. I'm not really too familiar with his opponents and that. I've seen him. I think the last guy he fought come in at short notice and he just blew him out there. So like I said on the last show, heavyweights, yeah,
With Dubois, obviously he's still quite young, about 25, 26 years old, but he's jumped in at the deep end with a lot of fighters and he's taken a couple of losses. If he loses again to Hrgovic, is age on his side, or should the world title ambition be over for him at 25 with say 3 losses on his record? I think it will be.
yeah. No, I don't think that at all. Like what, 25, 26 as a heavyweight, you're a baby, man. Like, yeah, just take the experience and move on. Too much is made about records in boxing. I hate it. They don't allow fighters to gain experience and by taking a couple of losses, taking a couple of hard fights, taking a couple of losses, and coming back. Um, yeah, no, I think crack on.
Another fight rumoured for that card is off the back of a good win, Raymond Ford, and looking at him potentially fighting Nick Ball, who's come off a great performance. Obviously, got I think it was a draw
Yeah,
at Dowdy last time out. That's a good fight, isn't it?
yeah. Yeah, I like Nick Ball. He's just a very exciting fighter. Comes forward, has a tear up. Obviously, he was unlucky just getting the draw. What was it, a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, no, it's a great fight, and he deserves to be there. Obviously, he'd be super disappointed not becoming world champion a couple of weeks ago. So it's great for him to have a big opportunity to go out there again.
What did you make of that Nick Ball performance? Do you feel he started a bit too late against Vargas?
Um, No, not really. I think he sort of that his sort of style. He comes forward. He's get finding his measure, almost like a bit. We're pretty similar in our styles. We both we are better over the longer distance. Do you know what I mean? Like them later rounds are where we're really firing. Do you know what I mean? We're like an old diesel gas tank, a diesel truck. Do you know what I mean? Just keep going and going and going and going through the gears. So, yeah, I rate him, man. He's good.
You mentioned obviously stylistically sort of same style as you. Do you run that risk of losing the first potentially half of a fight if you're fighting? Let's say somebody's got a longer range and who's going to pick you off whilst you're trying to find your range. If you don't do it in the first, say, 6 rounds of a 12 rounder, how what do you do to adjust? Do you start panicking? Do you stick to the game plan? What do you do in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, I've I only know sort of from my experience boxing when I fought Tyrone Nurse. To be fair, Tyrone Nurse played with me for 6 rounds. It was a 10 round English title fight. And he did. He played with me for 6 rounds, but then 7, 8, 9, 10, I come back and I was fully in it and I was wobbling in with shots. And then he got through to the final bell and won on a points decision. So yeah, obviously it's to know when you get to put your foot on the gas and when not to, and a lot of that just comes through experience and just doing it. Do you know what I mean? You can't sparring and everything else. You can spar. I remember being an 18, 19-year-old and sparring 12 rounds with Lenny Dawes and people like that, like British champions and all that kind of stuff. But it's a different ball game when you're in front of all them people in big arenas on TV and you're doing 10, 12 rounds. It's a different thing. So you obviously only learn that how to pace fights and everything else through doing it.
Definitely. Another fight which could steal the show out of this 5v5 if it gets made. Hamza Shiraz against Amo Williams.
Yeah, I mean that Shiraz obviously stopped Liam Williams in a round. Was it the last fight? I've actually sparred Shiraz. It was a lot of years ago, back in 5 Star in Romford. Decent man, yeah, very good fighter, very like that range, long arms, yeah, and them kind of fighters where they got their like quite sort of skinny arms but long, mate. They're punches, like them people whack, as you see against Williams.
When you sparred him all that time ago, could you tell that there's something about him?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And it wasn't till that long ago that I even remembered it was him. And I was like, oh yeah, that was him. He was good. I knew then. Um, it was him and the current Sam, someone else who's like another sort of like East London boy who's super welterweight, English or British champion. I'm sure he was. It was them two. I was sparring them together. But yeah, that Shiraz is decent, man. Yeah.
You mentioned about the long skinny arms, the range and the reach. There's talks of a modern day Tommy Hearns about him. That's what Al Frank Ryan's sort of trying to sell him at the moment. Do you see that potentially down the line? Obviously, it's a big shout now to say comparing to Tommy Hearns, but stylistically,
Yeah, it's a big shout. But it's a marketing angle, isn't it? So old Frank knows how to work the marketing angle. So yeah, like, fair play to him. That was a massive win, that last one. I sort of maybe perhaps Liam Williams. Do you know what? The way that he was getting shaken with every shot, I question is he really struggling to make the weight anymore because he just didn't look like he could hold a shot. But still, when getting that kind of stoppage against someone of that name, it's good.
I don't know if you saw the fight, but Shiraz fought Bradley Skeet a little while back, and there was a lot of controversy surrounding it. Um,
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
as a fighter, when everybody's sort of turned their back on you in that way, how'd you come back from that to win the fans back over like he has done?
Just by putting in performances, like just you know keeping your mouth shut, getting your head down, working hard, and putting in the performances. What can't speak can't lie. People can't argue with it really.
Does it just show the fickle nature of boxing fans where one
Oh,
performance and it's so quick to go, oh no, yeah, biggest fan.
it's just like, and it's only now that I really get it. Do you know what I mean? Because I've been a pro for, well, I turned pro nearly 14 years ago, but like, yeah, man, it's super fickle. And like I say, with like Anthony Joshua and that, it was laughable the whole with the Ngannou thing, how people just 180 their opinions like overnight. He blasted. Oh well, yeah. We all knew he was going to do that. Yeah, it's a bit pathetic at times. Yeah,
Another fight rumor for that bill. So I think that could be the fight of the night. This one is the most intriguing fight, potentially, in my opinion. Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang. Obviously, both come off the back of two losses
yeah,
that potentially were unexpected.
yeah.
Um, I mentioned earlier crossroads fight. This surely is a crossroads fight for both of these fighters. They're both close to 40 as well. It's potentially last chance saloon for both.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a nice fight. Yeah, 100%. That's a, that's going to be a shootout. Yeah, like obviously Josie Parker went and beat him the other week. I rate Zhang, but he's just he just he's such a big guy and he has no pace to his fighting. He does something really good, and I mean, if he lands, he's putting you out. But his pace is it's just not there. So hopefully, there's going to be a bit of urgency in this fight against Wilder, and I mean, there'll be urgency because Wilder's going through the same situation. Obviously, with Parker, there was just no. He didn't do anything. He just wasn't doing anything. He didn't seem to be the same Deontay Wilder. He didn't want to seem stand, plant his feet, and throw the shots. So yeah, it's a bit of a fascinating fight, really, because you neither of them can go out there and point score, right? Yeah, the careers are on the line. So great, good promoting from Uncle Frank and Fast Car Eddie.
Definitely. Sticking with heavyweights, future heavyweight star Moses Itauma. He got another quick victory at the weekend, just gone. He spoiled Tyson Fury, and Tyson came out and said, "This kid is the real deal. He's going to be a future world heavyweight champion." And again, we talk about marketing and marketability. Frank's obviously selling him as, he wants to be the youngest heavyweight champion, beating Mike Tyson's record. I think Mike Tyson was 21 when he won the world title against Trevor Berbick. Moses is just turned 18, 19 years old, and he seems to be a bit of a wrecking ball. He's currently down at the iBox gym with Al Smith and Eddie Lamb. I spoke to Eddie the other day about this, and he said it's so hard to match him. But not only that, they can't even get sparring in for him. That's just how dangerous he is. How far do you think this kid can go?
Shout out Al and Eddie, man. I love them guys. I fought Johnny Garton. I know Al and Eddie really well. Like sparred Bradley Skeet loads of times, mate. He's in the best place possible. That gym's hot, man. They've had a lot of great fighters, so he's definitely in the right place. What is he? 19. Like, yeah, the world's at his feet, man. He's just got to just keep it. Like, obviously, he was a good amateur as well, which is a great thing because not all heavyweights have even much of a amateur background. They'll just come like Wilder. He come from like NFL. Like some people just are a bit too wild. His boxing, man, he's very well schooled, very very well schooled for a heavyweight. Like I said on the other show again, I do feel like you can be a bit of a bang average heavyweight these days and make a good living. He's a very well schooled boxer, man. You can just see bam, in out, slipping, rolling. I love to see that, especially at heavyweight, because it can just get a bit muggy, a bit sloggy, and yeah.
And
But speaking on the fight, I mean, what did the guy come in at a few days' notice or a week's notice?
yeah,
He's that Moses is probably as disappointed as anyone that he didn't get a few rounds in, but he can only do what he does. But at 19, mate, he's got all the time in the world.
not only that, he's southpaw as well. How much of a problem is that for fighters?
I mean, if you're an awkward southpaw, it can be the most horrendous thing in the world. Like I've fought a lot of southpaws who just plod forward and come and try and have a fight and don't use that awkwardness that they can have. And I've just absolutely smashed the life out of them. But I have fought southpaws who are awkward, especially as an amateur. And yeah, it's horrible. So, and he's very bouncy on his toes. Tyson Fury, when he's not a fat mess, he's very light on his feet, and that's why he's successful as a heavyweight, because not everyone else is. They're a bit stuck in the mud, and he can sort of boom in and out, in and out. Let's just hope that this Moses keeps that athlete lifestyle, doesn't get caught up in his own hype, start gaining weight and thinking, do you know what? I'm going in there blowing people away and around anyway. It doesn't matter if I get a bit fat. Because look, let's face it, Tyson Fury, that's what he does. He believes in his own hype and he just turns up however the fuck he wants to look. So with the other divisions, we have a weight. You know what I mean? So it's like that keeps us in check. But as heavyweights, you can see when things. Not so much with Anthony Joshua. To be fair, Anthony Joshua has always been a humble athlete. But a lot of fighters just get big and fat, and it's heavyweight division.
I mean, with any prospect, no matter what weight they are, activity is so important and key. But with Moses, especially as they're trying to sell it as, get him to be the youngest heavyweight world champion ever. But just the opposition, like you say, he's blowing guys out of the water early doors. He's what, 9 or 10 fights now. A few of those stoppages have been in the first 2 rounds. So he's not getting many rounds under his belt. How quickly do you step him up through the ranks? Take him up to maybe your Southern area, your English, your your British level. I mean, obviously, British title is Fabio Wardley. English is Sol Dakers. Now, I can't see either of those two saying, "Yeah, I'll fight Moses Atama," because he's too high risk. So, where does he go?
Yeah.
Does he have to skip domestic title scene, or what should he do?
Yeah, I mean, again, he's with the best people. He's got Al and Eddie. They'll know exactly what to do with him. But yeah, I mean, there's no rush with him. He's at 19, and that for a heavyweight's crazy, man. Like he's got all the time in the world. You don't want to see him in too many just knock over job fights. I think that can hurt a person's career a bit. Like you just keep seeing it. It's like, hey, it's been good. He's got crazy talent and that, but no, I don't want to see him just. I don't want him against a Polish car washer. Every time I see him or whatever. But you have to be careful. He's 19, and like chucking him in with Fabio Wardley and all people like that who are, have gained this experience over years fighting now. It's a big shot for Moses, and you don't want to stop that momentum early on in his career. You obviously want to build it. So I mean, that's all. That's all about having the right manager and the right team. He'll be guided. He'll be guided right.
Absolutely. The last topic I want to talk about today, one that confused me a little bit. Ebony Bridges, former world champion, takes to Twitter to call out Astrid Wet to fight on a Misfit show. I don't know if you see this, but it baffled me a little bit. She's professional world champion boxer, and it just seems like she's gone right. Well, I'll go over there for a bag of cash for
Who,
easiest.
who is this Astrid person?
Some influence OnlyFans model who boxes on the KSI shows.
Oh right, okay.
She's not,
Well,
she's not a pro boxer.
it's an easy bag, isn't it? Let's have it right. I mean, I can't hate on it because if someone went, look, Tyler, here's a bag to go over and smash up some influencer. Yes, please. Like, yeah, it's what it is now, isn't it? It's just so I really can't hate on it too much.
Does it say or show lack of ambition from her?
Yeah, yeah, I suppose so. But then if she goes over there, I mean, she's got the rest of her career to do stuff afterwards. I mean, fighters aren't earning a lot, and you got to think about after life of boxing as well. So if you can potentially earn a lot more doing an influencer fight than a world title fight, you do it because you got to think about you have got to think about yourself. You got to think about you, like I say, after boxing. And the reality is that you probably are going to earn a lot more money doing one of these misfits fights, and then you are probably even a world title fight, because I wouldn't imagine that world level boxers, women boxers, are earning that much, because not men aren't. I know men that I boxed with who are only earning 100 grand for a world title. So the reality, a woman's probably not earning that. So yeah,
Well,
yeah,
somebody
like
somebody replied to her post on social media about this call out and said, "Oh, why are you not, fighting another world champion? You coming back from injury. You was world champion. You lost your title in your last fight. Why are you not trying to win your title back?" And the response from her was basically saying, "Well, when Eddie starts paying the right money, I'll come back to boxing." Because she was with Matchroom Boxing. Obviously, it's what she's saying from her point of view. Um, why why is there not more money in boxing, full stop, women or men's? Why is it?
because it's a frustrating one. It's really frustrating because and I'm not going to be like, I'm the only one out here doing it, because I'm sure there are other people, but people like me have spoke out against stuff like this, and being totally taken advantage of as a professional athlete, and and the money we're making is just criminal, like, for what we're doing. And I get I get deleted and cancelled. I've been cancelled 3 times off Instagram. Um, because of that, I put a post out, my last account, which was at 45K. I put a post out about Eddie Hearn, like got all the proof in the world about a fake contract. Boom, an hour later, my Instagram's been deleted. So fighters don't dare speak out because look, I'm at the point in my career now. I'm just going back to box because I want to, for the love of it. What comes will come. But most fighters are thinking, oh, I can't shut that door by speaking out. They're so scared that they become yes men. And we're just surrounded by yes men. And then when people like me speak out, I'm shunned by everyone because, oh, don't speak out because that might affect my career. Do you know what I mean? It's all nonsense and bollocks, mate.
I mean, you can even stretch that over to the boxing media side as well. A lot of people say certain journalists don't ask certain questions because they still want to keep their accreditation and their press passes, etc. I mean, I can't imagine this happening in any other sport. But why in boxing is it such a thing?
It's just like Talksport. I watch Talksport, and actually, to be honest, I'm losing a bit of respect for Talksport because I sort of feel like they're going. I mean, they're perhaps being forced to go that way. I mean, like they got banned from Tyson Fury shows because Tyson Fury thought that they were critiquing him too much. So they banned him from the shows. Yeah, media's just it's a lot of bollocks. And even Talk Sport now, just certain things. And I've tried to contact them and I've tagged them in things and stuff like that because I have stories, and like I say, I have all the proof in the world of stories that will shut boxing down, mate. Like be it the British Border Control, everything. Like if these stories get out, like it's but no response or anything like that. So I don't know if there'll ever be a day where they'll let us properly speak, but yeah.
Yeah, I sort of look at this and go back to when obviously they didn't license women and Jane Couch fought the board and she won a court case because they came out as some absolute nonsense in court, um, basically saying that women couldn't box because they're more emotional because of the time of month, etc. And they just couldn't believe the stuff they was coming out with. Um, so look, we've seen it once, so we might see it again happen. But Tyler, that wraps up this episode. Thank you very much. Again, another wild week, but I don't think there's ever a week that's not so wild in boxing, to be honest with you.
Nah, no, that's why we love it.
Absolutely. So, episode 3, couple of weeks' time, be back again.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, James.
Nice one, mate.